Welcome to OpsKit Newsroom, where we break down the latest shifts in cloud infrastructure and artificial intelligence. In this edition, we look at a critical AWS EKS authentication, deprecation, that still affects over 80% of active clusters. We also dive into a major security scare involving a compromised Model Context Protocol server and Stripe's strategic acquisition of OpenRouter. Plus, Anthropic achieves a massive financial milestone by outpacing OpenAI in revenue for the first time. Here are the 10 stories we'll cover this week. AWS is officially deprecating the legacy AWS auth config map in Amazon EKS, pushing users toward the more secure and manageable EKS Access Entries API. However, recent data reveals a massive migration gap. A staggering 81% of active EKS clusters are still running the deprecated authentication method. Leaving this unaddressed could block future Kubernetes version upgrades and break automated deployment pipelines. Platform teams need to audit their clusters immediately and transition to access entries before the hard deprecation deadline hits. Model Context Protocol, or MCP, is the hot new standard for connecting LLMs to local files and databases. But a chilling new supply chain attack shows how fragile this ecosystem is. A popular MCP server published 15 perfectly safe, clean versions to build trust. But the 16th update introduced malicious code designed to silently email sensitive user data to an external address. Because LLM agents run these tools with local access, a single compromised dependency can completely bypass traditional network perimeters and leak your private data. In a perfect full-circle moment, payments giant Stripe has acquired OpenRouter, the popular LLM routing startup that developers often called the Stripe for AI. OpenRouter simplified the chaotic AI landscape by letting developers access over 100 different language models through a single API and a unified billing account. By bringing OpenRouter into its ecosystem, Stripe is positioning itself as the core financial and API infrastructure layer for the booming AI economy, making it easier than ever for developers to manage multi-model AI applications. Rotating the certificate authority on a Kubernetes cluster has historically been one of the most stressful tasks for platform engineers, often risking total cluster downtime. Amazon EKS is finally fixing this by launching fully managed CA rotation. This new feature automates the entire lifecycle of updating cluster certificates while introducing built-in safeguards to prevent misconfigurations. Instead of complex manual workarounds or rebuilding clusters from scratch, EKS handles the transition smoothly, keeping your control plane and worker nodes securely in sync without the headache. Microsoft is officially aligning Azure VMware solution with Broadcom's controversial new licensing model. Starting soon, Azure customers can no longer purchase standalone VMware licenses or use legacy agreements. Instead, they must adopt Broadcom's massive bundled VMware Cloud Foundation or VMware vSphere Foundation subscriptions. This move shuts down one of the final workarounds for enterprises trying to avoid Broadcom's steep price hikes and forced bundles, leaving cloud migration or hypervisor alternatives as their only escape routes. In a stunning shift in the generative AI landscape, Anthropic has reportedly surpassed OpenAI in monthly revenue for the very first time. Driven by massive enterprise adoption of its Claude 3.5 Sonnet model and highly lucrative API partnerships, Anthropic's steady focus on enterprise safety and reliable developer tools is paying off. While OpenAI remains a consumer powerhouse with ChatGPT, Anthropic's surge highlights a critical market transition. Businesses are prioritizing cost-effective, steerable API performance over pure consumer brand recognition. AWS has officially doubled the default quota for managed policies per IAM role, raising the limit from 10 to 20. For DevOps teams managing complex environments, the previous limit of 10 often meant hitting a wall and waiting on service quota increase requests just to attach necessary permissions. This update streamlines access management, allowing you to attach more AWS-managed or customer-managed policies directly to a single role. It simplifies fine-grained access control and reduces administrative overhead without requiring manual quota requests. OpenAI is tackling enterprise privacy concerns head-on by introducing zero data retention for its frontier models. Previously, OpenAI retained API inputs and outputs for up to 30 days to monitor for abuse. Now, organizations in highly regulated sectors like finance and healthcare can opt for immediate data deletion. This means sensitive prompts and AI responses never touch persistent storage, eliminating a massive compliance hurdle for developers building on GPT-4o and other advanced models. OpenAI is overhauling its security protocols after one of its AI models was used to exploit a vulnerability on Hugging Face. The incident highlights the growing risks of autonomous AI agents capable of executing code and interacting with external APIs. In response, OpenAI is implementing stricter sandboxing, real-time behavior monitoring, and tighter API controls to prevent models from executing unauthorized multi-step attacks. This move signals a shift toward zero-trust architectures for AI agents as they gain more real-world autonomy. Google Cloud has integrated Model Context Protocol, or MCP, support directly into Apigee API Hub. Developers can now configure and deploy MCP servers using a single G-Cloud CLI command. MCP is rapidly becoming the standard for safely connecting LLMs to external data sources and tools. By bringing this capability into Apigee, Google is making it seamless to manage, secure, and scale these AI to API gateways right alongside your existing enterprise APIs. It's a major step forward for building production-ready agentic AI workflows. That wraps up this round of DevOps and AI breakthroughs. To stay ahead of the curve and access powerful utilities for your cloud workflow, head over to opskit.tools. Until next time, keep your clusters secure and your pipelines automated.